things have been a little chaotic. And in wake of the increased talks around Alberta separation or independence of the West, Saskatchewan, Alberta, we're hosting kind of like an emergency Rebel News Live that will be very Alberta and Western independent focused. It will be happening on Saturday, June the 14th. It's an all-day event. It'll take place at the Red Deer Curling Center. I think doors open at 8 a.m. So it's like a jam-packed day starting first thing in the morning, goes until whatever time in the evening. And right now we have early bird prices on. They were supposed to originally be only until today. We've extended that deadline until Monday. So you can get a $45 general admission early bird ticket at that price until Monday. I think there's roughly 2,000 tickets, and I know there were a few hundred already sold. So if you're debating, you're not sure, I would suggest going to grab up those early bird prices. There's also a VIP package option available, because we know that Western Canadians are facing unprecedented challenges. They're suffocating under federal regulations, bureaucratic red tape, attacks on natural resources, and of course, the continued infringements on things like freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of your economic freedom also with all of this bureaucratic red tape. So this will be a day to have those robust discussions about what it means to be independent from the hammer of the Liberal government and the elites in Ottawa. So there will be a lot of powerful speakers there, including, of course, our boss and Rebel founder, CEO Ezra Levant, editor-in-chief Sheila Gunn-Reid, Keith Wilson, constitutional lawyer, Western Standard, other independent media, from Juno News to Counter Signal. And you can find a full list of those speakers at the webpage, where you can also get your tickets, which is donegettingscrewed.com. So you head over there, get those early bird prices, check out the plan and the itinerary and who will be there to give some powerful addresses at this Rebel Live event. That's June 14th, all day at the Red Deer Curling Center, obviously in Red Deer, Alberta. So hope to see you there. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but others will be. And it's always a really great time. I love coming to the Rebel Live events, and I just sadly will not be there this time. So without further ado, let's hit into some of this news, because we're late off the hop. We've done some of the housekeeping. So let's chat about that Liberal bill. It's Bill C2, which threatens a whole bunch of things, including what we chatted about yesterday on the live stream, which is it gives police the power to open your mail, which was something that since Canada's founding has not been allowed. RCMP would previously have to go undercover and pose as a mailman or mail woman or mail person, whatever gender fluid term they're using these days. And they would have to deliver the mail and then like arrest the person in order to access anything that they were flagging as suspicious. But now under this new bill, it's just a free-for-all. They can infringe fully on your mail privacy, MAIL privacy, and open your mail without that. So here's another piece that's hidden and tucked into this border security bill, which is that it will make cash payments of $10,000 or more a criminal offense, which freedom advocates warn serves as a precursor for digital currencies. So it will criminalize businesses and charities that accept cash payments of $10,000 or more, even if it's done in smaller transactions. And as we note here, and this actually comes from the JCCF, the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom, they say this is very similar to Quebec's Bill 54, which was adopted in March 2024, and that gave police the power to presume. So this is all just like assumption based. Presume any person carrying $2,000 or more in cash must have obtained it as the proceeds of crime. Which, I mean, Quebec has always been this like tyrannical government that just pushes the bar on all of these things. And this isn't quite that bad, but who's to say, this is the slippery slope that one day they'll lessen those increments more and more and more and more until it's now suspicious if you even carry cash.
I mean, the list goes on. It reminds me a lot of a report I did about the cashless society attempts in Nigeria, because they were putting limits on how much money you could take out if you didn't adopt to their, their agenda with that. And all hell broke loose. So I ended up covering that because I could see these patterns starting to come here. But boy, I didn't see it coming in black and white this soon. But it's really scary. And when asked, okay, well, what about our charter rights? What about that? What did the minister say? He said something like, oh, I believe we found the balance. There is no
Yes.
balance here. The state's going to check your mail. They're going to have a problem with you doing a $10,000 payment. I mean, it's scary stuff. It's really happening. Everything, the conspiracies are coming true as always.
Yeah, he says also, this is the public safety minister, that
Yeah.
this bill is essential to maintaining the safety and security of our country. And so it's always done under the guise of safety, security, or convenience. And I really appreciate that the JCCF has warned Canadians that, as I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, this is a slippery slope, comparing it to legislation that's already in place in Quebec. And even here, they post one of the first hyperlinks in that article is the post that JCCF put on X. They say here, for point blank, restricting the use of cash is a dangerous step toward tyranny and totalitarianism. Cash gives citizens privacy, autonomy, and freedom from surveillance by government and by banks, credit card companies, and other corporations. If we cherish our privacy, we need to defend our freedom to choose cash in the
Yeah.
amount of our choosing. This includes, for example, our right to pay $10,000 cash for a car or to donate $10,000 or
Mm-hmm.
more to a charity. And I wholeheartedly agree. I would just actually went to the bank, I don't know, less than a month ago, and I pulled out $5,000.
Aren't you a
And
bitch?
and they just we're in the middle of a renovation.
Just
And
joking.
anyway, so no, I'm not, I'm very far from it, but I needed the cash to divvy up and like really get a grip on our budget for this renovation, because I similarly think that paying digitally for things, you just tap, you tap, it's so hard to keep track of those pennies and those cents. And
Mm-hmm.
if you keep track of those pennies and cents, those pennies, and your dollars make sense. And so for me, I like to keep that physical cash to know what I'm working with, what I have left. It's like it makes it more real when you're
Yeah.
seeing it and you're feeling it and you're seeing it leave your hand. You're like, okay, there it goes. Anyway, and the bank teller was like, "Oh, are you buying something nice?"
None of
And they
your
just have like
business.
a sneaky way of like insinuating, trying to question where exactly you're pulling out your own money and
Mm-hmm.
where it's going. And I was like, oh yeah, just doing the renovation, just, and I'm thinking like, why did I even respond at all? Like,
Yeah.
it's just such a subtle way for the banks to say, well, where are you putting this money? And you don't
And
even notice it unless you're thinking about it. It's none of your business.
well, and if you take a certain amount, I've had it where they say you have to make an appointment to do that. You have to line up forever to be told you have to make an appointment. And I literally just left because I was like, well, I don't have time to appointment. Like, it's my money, give it to me. Not to mention, we see the attack on cash just on businesses, certain businesses that aren't even accepting cash anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the JCCF is absolutely right. This is an issue we all need to stand hard and firm against. I don't, when someone says they don't do cash, I literally walk right out. I just like, it
Yes.
has to be a statement on the spot.
That's so funny that you mentioned this. Just piqued my memory. There's a little amusement park in, I think it's Cambridge, Ontario, or I don't remember where exactly it's located. It's called Santa's Village. And I'm going to just dig up the link quickly because I loved reading through the comments. So just last month, at the end of May, they announced that they're going cashless. And I'm just pulling up the
Mm-hmm.
link here to share so we can
Nope.
just quickly show it on screen as we run through this. But it's like a children's amusement park. It's called Santa's Village. I can't remember where it's somewhere near the Muskokas, Bracebridge. It's Bracebridge,
Right.
Ontario. And they say here, and if we can pull up that link, Santa's Village is going cashless, and they're like so excited. And
Yay.
they say, um, that cash can be exchanged for in-park gift cards at the admission gate in $5 denominations. Now they only said that you can see that's an update because
Mhm.
people are so outraged in the
Really
comments.
good.
Like I could not find one that was supportive of their move to go cashless. People in the comments are like, I hate this. We
Yeah,
won't be visiting. And it sounds like a lot of people actually
good.
their children save cash and their allowances and
Yeah,
things like that throughout the year. And then they go to Santa's Village, which is a child's amusement park, and
right.
they can go to the park gift shop or the whatever it is, the admission gate, and spend their hard-earned money. And
Hmm.
they can also learn that cash exchange, giving change, the math involved with handling cash is such a great learning opportunity for so many kids and instills that value system onto them because, again, they're seeing that physically leave their possession. So people were mad. They were big mad about
Good,
this
good.
decision. And yeah, it was so nice to see it. If anybody's interested, like just pull up this post from May 22nd, read through the comments. And I'm like, finally, people are
Yeah.
seeing how important it is to keep cash. Cash is king. And this ridiculous nonsense cash can be exchanged for in-park gift cards at the admission gate in $5 denominations. And people were like, well, what if my kid didn't spend
Yeah.
the entirety of their
Yeah.
$5 denomination gift card, whatever? Like, how do they get change?
Hmm.
Can they sell it back? What if your debit or credit's down, right? We've seen that too, like where the power goes out or debit or servers lose whatever for a day. Like Bell was down a couple weeks ago, and a lot of stores didn't have their debits up and running.
Oh,
And
Starbucks
so,
just can't even run. Like if that happens, they can't
yeah,
run at all. But
it's
isn't it more work at this point? Like now they're coming up with a card system and everything like this. It's like just keep our national currency and that's that. Like,
exactly.
oh my gosh.
Someone writes in here, I hate when venues, parks, etc. make this decision. We need to keep cash as an option. Exactly. If you want to use digital, you want to use your debit, tap, MasterCard, Visa, whatever, all day long, go ahead. But for those people who value the using cash and want to have that as an option, it's absolutely ridiculous to deny them that option.
It's like I didn't carry that much cash until they started doing this. Then I want cash. This is how I am with everything. I didn't have a gun or anything, and then it's like I gotta get my gun license. They're getting rid of the guns. Like it's just the typical rebel, you stepping on the beach kind of thing. That's just how we are. So
That's right.
I
Yeah, you
carry
tell us
cash.
we
Don't
can't
rob
do
me.
something. We're like, actually, we're going to do that thing now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so as we mentioned, Canada's unemployment rate is at a multi-year high, finds a job report. This comes from Bloomberg, and I think it was originally reported on by Reuters. Almost a 9-year high outside of the pandemic years, which of course were
Right.
unprecedented lockdowns, restrictions, closures, etc.
Yeah.
So yes, Canada's unemployment rate is at the highest level in almost 9 years, with 1.6 million jobless people in the country. The data showed on Friday, so just today. It tip
Well, yep. Go on.
Yeah, and it comes from Statistics Canada, which adds that the total number of jobless people in May was almost 14% higher than this time last year. And again, they excluded COVID era data because that was just unprecedented, the level of people who were unemployed at that time from 2020 to 2021. And then I'm just looking for it here, but of course, they say that this could be due to the impact of tariffs on Canada and factory shutdowns, this sort of thing.
Yeah, except it's been steadily rising long before that. So I don't think that's exactly what it is. I don't know if you have any young adults in your family. I do, and I can see it big time with them. They're in college, they're in university, they're trying to get their side jobs and they can't get hired wherever they're going.
Yes.
And then just call it like it. There's a lot of foreigners working the jobs that typically when I was younger, I would have been working and my friends would have been working. There is initiatives. I was at Popeye's Chicken the other day, and I just asked. I happened to notice all of the staff had strong accents. They were all South Asians, and I just said, "Hey, how did you get this job?" And she said she applied on an app in India and got the job. So that's certainly not helping the joblessness in Canada as well, because the question becomes what demographics are jobless as well.
Yeah, that's just it. I was looking, I thought I read something in here was because population had continued to grow
Hmm.
while the job opportunities and the labor market stagnated. And so we're welcoming more and more people into Canada, but our job market is not growing at the same rate. And so I thought it mentioned it in here. Maybe I was reading a different article, but that's the basis of it. That is,
Yeah.
there's the root of the problem right there. And yeah, I have my 17-year-old stepson has been out job hunting for several months,
Hmm.
and it is slim pickings
Very.
for young, I hesitate to say it, but I will, young white males out there.
It's
Um,
not just white anymore.
no, but
Canadian.
there are
But
clear
yeah,
descriptors though. If
for
you're
sure.
not a visible minority, then
Yeah.
you're not considered for this employment. Especially a lot of places get federal grants for hiring students,
Yeah.
and there's a whole bunch of strings attached in those federal grants of who you can hire, whether what demographic they're from, et cetera, et cetera. And so
Systemic
it's tough out
racism.
there.
Just say it, Tamara. It's systemic racism, okay?
Yeah,
Against white people. It's
there
a
you have
thing.
it. You heard it
But
here first.
and they're talking about removing the COVID era, but that's impossible. You can't remove it. There were hundreds of thousands of businesses that dropped, many back down on their staff. So we are still living the pain of of the consequences we inflicted upon ourselves in that area too, because we haven't recovered from that economically.
Yeah, we just showed a graph there that the student summer job market has imploded. If we can pull that one back up, 20% unemployment for returning students, 22% for young men. Like these
Mm,
are,
yeah.
that is our future. That is literally like the bread makers of society there. 22%.
Then throw in whatever AI is going to do to jobs in the next, I don't know, 3 years or something like that. It's going to be scary.
Worst May on record since 2009. If you're 15 to 24 and looking for work, good luck.
Yeah.
Ottawa's too busy importing cheap, temporary foreign labor. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you have it.
Yep.
That's
Not
the
just us.
facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Immigration Minister Mark Miller, a few months former then Immigration Minister Mark Miller said we put a cap on that. But if the data has anything to say about that, it wasn't really true. But I mean, are we surprised given the Liberals' track record? Nana Awake gives $10 for our cash chat. Thanks so much, Nana Awake. I use
You.
cash all the time and leave as well if they don't take it. But what I
Yeah.
find shocking is how many young people struggle to make change. Schools
Oh,
need to
yeah.
focus on math, sciences, and English,
Yeah.
not ideology. Yeah, I am always astounded. I actually have started to notice now that if I even offer cash, they're not prepared to take it. They've automatically pressed debit or whatever, and they're just waiting for you to tap. And then you're like handing them a 20, and they're like, oh, sorry, we're just so accustomed to taking tap or you just tapping it that they're not even looking for cash anymore,
Yeah.
let alone prepared to give change.
I've noticed this as well too. And really good advice I got a long time ago when cash was more normal was to count your change because people make mistakes. So I've always saved like a little bit here and there, but I've noticed in the last few years, like it's almost like I would say 50% of the time that they're giving me back the wrong change. So always count your change. And I've seen a real increase of people not knowing how to count anymore. So yeah, the dumbing down of society.
Yeah, and I mean, here at my house, that's we try to instill that sort of thing. Like this is this denomination, this is how you make change. This many quarters makes a dollar. Like working through all of those sorts of things, and it's always astounds me that teenagers just don't have that skill.
Mm.
So hopefully, and as somebody who used to work in the food and beverage industry, like we were working with cash all the time.
Yeah.
I was giving people change, and they were paying their bills with cash, and having
Mhm.
to count backwards and figure out tips and tip out at the end of the night, percentages. Like
Yeah, I was a
that is such a
coat check.
necessary skill.
I was a coat check girl.
Yeah,
So we had to do all that too. It's all cash.
exactly. Let's keep cash king.
Hmm.
All right. So moving along, we have let's run a quick ad break and then we will come back for more on Ford's tariff fight.
Oh gosh, who let Ford out?
Hey, what do you think about Alberta independence? What do you think about Alberta trying to get a better deal within Canada? Do you think Alberta should have the right to vote in a referendum to separate the same way Quebec did? There's a lot of things to talk about. Can Canada be fixed, or has the West tried that, done that, been there, and it's just not working? Well, we're going to talk about all these things in an amazing day-long conference in Red Deer, the heart of Alberta, on Saturday, June 14th. Go to donegetingscrewed.com to get your tickets now. It's going to be a full day. We'll start with a continental breakfast. We'll have panel discussions. We'll have keynote speakers. We'll even have a debate. I think that's going to be the highlight of it. David Legg, former advisor to the Alberta government, is going to make the case for Canada. Keith Wilson, lawyer, freedom activist, he was with the Freedom Convoy. He'll be making the case for independence. We'll have other people in the debates, a media panel, and people of different points of view, including different political parties. There's going to be a bit of a trade show there too. So we'll serve you 2 meals, but more than that, we'll serve you ideas you just can't get anywhere else. But it's coming up quick, and I promise you this event will sell out. There's only room for 1,000 people. And I know that there have been 1,000-person meetings about this subject all over the province. In fact, we had an event in Calgary that sold out in 2 days when we had only 350 seats. So don't be disappointed. Go to donegetingscrewed.com and get your tickets now. I'll be there. Sheila Gunn-Reid will be there. So many interesting people. Our friends in other media companies like Western Standard, Juno News, and Countersignal. It's going to be a great day. That's Saturday, June 14th in Red Deer, Alberta, all day long. Go to donegetingscrewed.com to get your ticket now. Don't wait. I don't want you to be locked out. It's going to be full. See you there. That's donegetingscrewed.com.
Now, this news of the new tariff retaliatory measures comes after President Trump doubled the US tariffs duties on steel and aluminum earlier this week. On Wednesday, he doubled the tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum from 25 up to 50%. And those industries were already sort of starting to crumble under the weight of the 25% tariffs. And now we're up to 50%. So just as a precursor, Danielle Smith, I want to mention the Alberta Premier, went to the United States this week, and she told American media that these don't make any sense. And I think we have a clip of her there. This originally, I think, came from CTV News. And if we have that clip, we could just play it for you. And if not, then we can move on, because we have some clips I know of Doug Ford and I think actually just Doug Ford. All right. So we do have the clip of Smith. I'm just trying to see if I can find it a little bit faster. But, that's been her stance this whole time. She was like, so yeah, it's on the CTV News clip. I think it's about 20 seconds in. But her stance this whole time has been, okay, let's tighten up our borders. You know what? Trump has pointed out some clear security issues that we have with mass unfettered immigration, illegal aliens, not even, I hesitate to even call it immigration because they're just entering our country illegally. And then, of course, the fentanyl trafficking trade, human trafficking, all these things that are happening at our very porous, broad borders between Canada and the United States. But Danielle Smith took she acted very quickly, and she implemented enhanced border security, whether that be enhanced policing, RCMP at the border, drones, dog sniffing. I mean, she took it seriously, and she responded, and I think responded appropriately. And then, so this continued trade war and these threats and these increases. I mean, the rest of Canada, we're still lagging pretty far behind, I would say, other than appointing a border czar who has had a bunch of conversations, but I haven't otherwise heard anything from them.
That we're not allowed to know about. Like, we don't even get to hear most of the conversation.
Top secret. Yeah. top secret to even just average Canadians who care about the security of our country. But here we have the Smith clip, so we'll just play this one before we get into it.
I've always felt that tariffs are their own punishment, and I still don't understand why Americans want to punish the consumers of aluminum when you get 60% of it from Canada. It's also a product that Americans can't produce themselves. You don't have bauxite, so there is no way to have a homegrown aluminum industry. So we're kind of scratching our heads.
Yeah,
that's how you do it. He's so tough. But she's still relatable. She's still over there. She's talking to them. She's not dividing a wall with divisiveness. And she's just speaking logic. She's always doing well on the international stage and showing that she's at least trying the best for her people. And then you got Dougie Ford.
Doug Ford, whose video clip we'll get to in a moment, but stark contrast because he says, we're going to come out guns blazing. And it's like, if you compare what the way that he's speaking with how Danielle Smith just approached that right there, very reasonably based in fact, based in, hey, this is kind of a head scratcher. We don't know why this doesn't make any sense to us. Help us understand how this makes sense. And then look, here's what you have from Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford.
Well, I think guns a-blazing starts if President Trump says, no, we don't have a deal. We're going to continue tariffing your country. I find it ironic that China is getting a better treatment than its closest friends and allies. That's unacceptable. We should be the first country in line to get a fair trade deal because it benefits Americans and Canadians. I really believe that he's short-sighted. He's not seeing the forest beyond the trees right now, President Trump, because at the end of the day, it's going to hurt Americans across the board. Anything that's produced by steel, we've seen it. The cost has gone up 16% because of his actions. What the problem is China. They're shipping in steel, slapping a flag of certain countries on their steel and saying, hey, it was made here. Well, it's not made there. That's the flow we have to stop. I mentioned that to the Prime Minister, and the President has to realize that as well. Everything's on the table right now. Hopefully that we won't come to that. Let's try to strike a deal in the best interests of Americans and Canadians.
Yeah, and I appreciate that they've come away from the dollar for dollar thing that they were saying before, because I'm pretty sure our dollar is trading way less than the US dollar. So are you accounting for that discrepancy, or how are we going to hit back with dollar for dollar tariffs when our dollar is worth way less than the American dollar? But obviously they've had several months now to work through and reach an agreement and get negotiations going and have something in place. And that has continually failed. So this back and forth, and I've called it before, I'll say it again, this political ping pong of trade war nonsense and back and forth is just getting to be exhausting, trying to keep up with it. And it's so frustrating. These are the people we elect to represent us because they act like high school drama queens.
Yeah. And we elect them over and over again. So it's even more frustrating. I mean, guns a-blazing. Like, did you just threaten war with the United States? Because I'm pretty sure we're not going to win that type of war either, as we're losing with the tariff war right now. But he said some facts in there. But then again, with this rhetoric that comes out, it's like Doug Ford is part of what, in my opinion, of what is making it so hard to make a deal, especially when we contrast Miss Smith before. The retaliatory approach is just not working. And it is hard to understand where Trump is coming from. Just like Smith said, we're scratching our head. But that's not the way either. And that's not helping. And who's suffering? The Canadians, the steel workers. And to a certain extent, maybe the US will be hurt a little bit with that too, but for sure we are, and we've got to get our act together and actually lead quick. Yeah. My cat agrees.
I can hear in the background. He's like, yes, go Trump. Ford he originally said that he threatened to cut off electricity to the United States, and was like, the people that will suffer most are like middle class average Americans. And he just said that with a straight face, as though it was like making him happy at the thought of cutting people off from electricity instead of taking steps to secure our border, which is now being done as something that will simultaneously infringe on the privacy and security of Canadians. I mean, the whole thing is topsy-turvy, crazy town. But here we are living in it as per usual. We have a couple super chats I just want to get to here before we move on, because I think we covered everything in that topic there. But Ableist SL gives $5. Thank you so much. Do you think that Kian's dad, David Beexy, would make a superior replacement for Pierre Poilievre, as he could organize a merger with the PPC? I didn't know that. And do you suggest mass voting him into CPC leadership? Geez, that's a loaded question. And I am not overly familiar with David Beexy, I'll be honest. I know he did his first speech in the House of Commons was really great, and really great from the Western independence lens. Yeah. And so I think he's really great on that stuff. Whether or not that would be something that would represent Canada more as a whole, I can't say. Maybe, here. Do we have a quick clip? I think it was like 8 minutes.
This is great, but it's too soon to tell how he would be as a leader overall, but I'm rooting for him.
Right. Yeah. Why not? And I didn't know that he had a friendly relationship with the PPC, but a merger at this point would, I think, garner a really successful and strong Conservative Party that's rooted in actual conservatism. Rather than being more on the progressive Conservative side, as we see with people like Premier Doug Ford, who is textbook progressive and less conservative. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out more in the days to come. But Pierre Poilievre, it wasn't a good scene for him after the election loss. We have Politicians Never Lies gives $3.33. I think you gave $2.22 yesterday. So thank you once again. Danielle Smith puts every other politician to shame. Yeah, I tend to agree. I think especially, as a woman, right? Mark Carney was just out there announcing, I think today or yesterday, we have the largest woman cabinet in Canadian history, which is talking points once again recycled from Justin Trudeau. But there she is, a strong, independent woman who can articulate herself, has very reasonable, rational responses and approaches, and gets hated on by almost every other premier male in Canada. It's craziness.
It's crazy. And she schools the men on topics like, the eco topics. She knows her stuff. She comes to the table with the science and the economics behind it. She's a powerhouse. She's somebody that kids should be learning about in school with our feminist liberal leaders. And you're right, they just vilify her instead. So that falls on us, though. That falls on us. I'm always passionate about the kids. So make sure you're talking to the kids about her, even if they're not into politics. Let them know about our political leaders that do shine and stand out. She's definitely one.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just crazy. I mean, I'll throw to the latest polling results from that come from Polling Canada. Liberals are up 5 points. They're polling right now. And so this was just published late yesterday afternoon. They are sitting at 54%. Conservative Party of Canada is 37, down 7 points.
Lord help us.
NDP is, plateauing at the same. And Green, oh my gosh, why are the Greens even a thing? They're at up 2 points, polling at 3%. It comes from Ledger, May 25th poll that they ran. Sample size, 883 Canadians. So
and I suppose. What's it going to look like in some years down the road? What did we just have 817,000 immigrants rushed in the first 4 months this year? It's continuing at that pace. So what's the support going to look like?
Yeah.
Scary thought.
That's a great point. Great point. And as the handouts continue from the Liberals, of course. Mm-hmm. All right, let's hit maybe another quick ad break, and then we'll come back for some more.
Do you agree with me? It is time to make Canada great again. And that is why we at Rebel News have teamed up with MCGA Hats to introduce, well, the fashion sensation of 2025. Oh, and by the way, these beautiful hats, they are made in Canada. We don't rely on cheap imports coming over from China. So what are you waiting for, folks? Show your pride. This is the perfect thing for a patriot to wear, or maybe there's a patriot in your life that you would like to gift such a hat. Please go to mcgahats.ca. That's mcgahats.ca. Don't be shy about it. Wear this cap. Let everybody know you want to make Canada great again.
Canadians know the national anthem. They stand in silence to remember those who died for this country. But not every Canadian knows their rights and freedoms. The Freedom Passport will change that. It looks and feels like a Canadian passport, but contains the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms in a portable, easy-to-read format. The Freedom Passport. Order one for yourself and for all the freedom lovers that you love at freedompassport.ca.
All right. On the same vein of mass immigration into our country and the support that it garners for the Liberals, we have another piece of legislation that they've just introduced. And I think it's actually a revamp of previously introduced legislation. But it makes citizenship available by descent. And so it extends citizen by descent rules beyond the first generation. And that means that it would automatically give citizenship to anyone who would be a citizen today, if not for the first generation limit, which under the current rules, a Canadian citizen born outside of Canada cannot pass their citizenship to their child who was also born outside of the country. So the new legislation would allow them to access citizenship beyond that first generation, as long as the parent spent at least just over 1,000 cumulative days or 3 years physically in Canada prior to the birth of their child. So this is absolutely crazy. So you don't have to be a citizen. Come into the country, be here for at least 3 years, leave, give birth to a child in another country, and then they can still be eligible for citizenship just because you were here for 3 years.
And it says the new legislation will create unknown but significant number of Canadian citizens around the world. And it's going to happen overnight. Listen to this. Foreign nationals who had been seeking to come to Canada as permanent residents before, but who may have been unable to meet the stringent point requirements under the current assessment tools, may now find that they are already Canadian citizens, just like that. This is ludicrous. Oh my gosh. So they're making Canadians overnight. And then they're just going to come here.
And they can do this dating all the way back to the Dominion of Canada prior to 1947. Like, this is absolute. Every day, I swear, I say things cannot get any crazier here in Canada. We've reached peak crazy. Okay, we've got to rein it in now. Now is like the peak, and it's all going to get under control.
Well, not only that, like the whole removing stringent barriers, like the people that have come here before, they fought to come here. It was the traditional story. I came here with like $2 in my pocket, my old boss would tell me, and things like that. And the lady who does my eyebrows, she was shocked. She doesn't follow politics. She just does eyebrows. She's an Indian lady that's been here for years. She was so shocked when I was telling her some of this. She's like, do you know what I had to do to come here to be a business? I had to give you guys $60,000 just to come here with one person so I could start a business when I came here. And she was just blown away about all the handouts. She's like, they gotta go. And so it's not, when you hand it out that easy, I mean, that goes with beyond immigration. If you do too much for people, they don't care themselves and they don't have the drive to do it. So you cannot coddle adults around the world and just make them Canadians when they didn't even try hard enough to do so.
Why do you expect, or how do you expect someone to follow our laws if they haven't even had to go through any sort of law to get here in the first place, or they're just disavowing it completely and skirting those regular checks and balance and coming here illegally? I mean, I think it's at the very end of this article, it shows that they're opening these floodgates is just going to contribute to an already crazy backlog. The lawyers that CTV News found to talk about this, they, expressed concern or worry about the ability to process a significant number of new applications. They worry that the Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada is not equipped to handle the influx of applications. As of April 30th, there were currently more than 2 million applications in their inventory, of which 242,500 are for citizenships. And the backlog currently stands at 760,000 applications. So this is only going to get worse. And then we have estimates that we don't even know for certain, but are in the range of 200 to 500,000 refugee claimants who aren't actually eligible to stay in Canada, that we just don't even know where they went.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, we're not sure. It could be 200,000, could be 500,000, or like maybe even more, but they're gone. So
they're not tracking them when they come in. Like, oops, we don't know where they are. And then they say, oh, we're working hard on figuring something else. Yeah, figuring out how to get them in as fast as possible before the next election. That's my theory.
Exactly.
It's becoming obvious at this point.
Exactly. All right. Well, we hit all the headliners. Let's get to a couple of the extras here that we have. Well, here on the same vein, why don't we just chat quickly about how immigrants own and rent homes at higher rates now than the Canadian-born populace. This new report comes from Statistics Canada, which shows immigrants are both owning and renting out more homes than those born in this country.
Wow.
This was a newly released report, and it was collected in 2021, which we know that immigration has only continued to skyrocket since that time. So this problem is likely exponentially worse than is contained in this report. Immigrants occupied 310 housing units per 1,000 people. That's in 2021, compared to just 271 units for Canadian-born individuals. On average, I'm just going to read here. Non-permanent residents occupy 41 owned units and 316 rental units per 1,000 people, for a total of 357 housing units. These are astronomical numbers. And again, these are not an accurate reflection of what it is currently. This was based on 2021, and we've gone up millions in new Canadians since that time.
You'll own nothing and be happy. I suspect it's worse out here too, because for years we've had the issue with not even immigrants, just people from China buying up our property out here and keeping the houses empty, which caused a lot of issues with renting and things like that. But now the trend is that the houses are not so much empty. Instead, they're renting each room out to like a whole bunch of people, and the rooms are outrageous. So I think that the stats probably higher out in at least the Lower Mainland.
Yeah, and the conversation's starting to happen about immigration, but I mean, it wasn't even really a campaign issue during the latest snap election. So how do we fix a problem if we can't even talk about it? That's kind of where I'm at. We see here at the end of this article that asylum claims from people like international students that come here, that a situation that has been exploited by international students and the lawyers and the advocates to get them here. They then claim asylum, and those claims have surged, with 20,245 claims being filed by students in 2024 alone. And from one college in particular, Conestoga, which I believe is in Ontario, had 720 refugee claims seeking refugee status. So, I mean, this problem's not going anywhere. It's only getting worse. This data is going to take years to get in and compile. That's what we have from 2021. And I would say that it's exponentially worse than that.
Yeah. What do we do? What do we do? We're trying to be the messengers, but beyond that, like, what can you even do?
Yeah. We have a super chat here from Elshara Silverheart. Give $6. Thank you very much. Is it likely that the House of Commons will vote to reject the throne speech? So we talked about this yesterday on the live stream. It was passed. They voted. Who's they? We don't know because it wasn't a recorded vote, but it was voted to be adopted. So yeah, the throne speech is adopted, and Carney thinks that this gives him a strong mandate, that he has a strong mandate from Canadians as a minority government. And so I just don't think any of them want an election again.
No.
I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword for Canadians. We do, but we don't, because it costs millions of dollars, and then we have no government again, and whether it's a political dumpster fire here in Canada. I'm just going to keep saying that because it's true. But yeah, they did not reject the throne speech, despite all the parties saying that they were going to, but they also opted not to have a recorded vote. So we don't know who voted which way, but we know that it went through. So I suspect and speculate, pure speculation, that when the House returns September 20th, I think it is, that there will be an election or something will happen that will topple this government, because I don't think Carney has the support of the Liberals, and he certainly doesn't have a strong mandate from Canadians.
Well, we definitely dodged a bullet with the NDPs staying put. I was thinking that they were going to cross over, or that it was possible at least.
Yeah, and the NDP doesn't even have party status anymore,
No.
But they pulled their support, and they said, well, we're not going to back this throne speech, and how could we? And Don Davies was up in arms about it. He's the new leader of the NDP. But anyway, I want to spend the last 5 minutes on our daily dose of cringe, but we didn't put one in here, and I want to see if we can pull it up quickly. I saw it, and I don't know if I can find it again. It was the mayor of Toronto, Olivia Chow. Once again, maybe we already did this on another live stream earlier this week, the daily dose of cringe.
Yeah, it was on Wednesday. The police, is that what you're talking about?
She's up on stage dancing around, I think with some sort of drag performer.
Okay.
Because it's Pride Month, Pride season. This isn't her first time. Yeah. This is like a pattern for Olivia Chow. She just loves it. We have one from last year, but there was one just last weekend where she was at some event in Toronto, dressed all, scantily clad, and some sort of pride something or other, and shaking her booty around in the utmost professionalism that you would expect from a big city mayor. Yes, here it is. Let's play this for our daily dose of cringe. This is the mayor of Toronto, Olivia Chow. Oh my gosh.
She's twerking. Oh my gosh. Mayor Chow, that was a twerk. She just twerked.
She got real low.
What the heck? She did get pretty low.
Getting it really low there.
I'm giving that. This woman practices. Look at that. Oh my gosh, Olivia Chow is twerking. That's the most dressed I've seen her in these. Usually, remember that time she went out? It must have been like a sort of a cabana thing, maybe a Trinidadian festival, and you could see it all. So I'm happy that she's more covered in this one. But why? Why is the mayor twerking?
Yeah, I was.
Drag queen.
What is it called? I think it's called Caravana. Where Olivia Chow, and she was. Oh my gosh,
do we have a picture of that? I feel like
that was so embarrassing. I almost forgot about that one. Let me see. Oh, I just pulled it up. Oh my gosh, and you can see
Like, you should never see that area of a politician publicly. Like, you just shouldn't.
And I'm just looking up, how old is Olivia Chow?
Cringe to the
She is 68.
Oh, you know what? She got low. I will give her that.
Low.
She got low. Look at this. Oh my God.
Yes. So that's her last year, I believe. Yeah, Caravana. Oh, we have a video. Oh my gosh, we have to play this video.
Who's zooming in? Are we zooming in? Did we just zoom in? Look at that.
No, we need to play this video. It's even better. She's wearing a purple feathers costume in full Caravana mode. Look at this. Oh my
gosh. What happened to no appropriation?
Right? Look at her just stomping around. Can we zoom in on this one too? Where'd she go?
Oh man.
We need to go back to the beginning and zoom in. Oh, there she is.
Look at that little chicken.
Were you going to say chicken cutlets? Because that's what I was thinking.
Oh no. We're going too far. Where's David?
Daily dose of cringe.
I feel like we just went in David territory with that
Daily dose of cringe. Okay, wait. Because we're hitting a hat trick with our daily dose of cringe here, you have to also look at this video of Olivia Chow on stage with another drag queen.
You're welcome.
Hide your virgin eyes. Oh my gosh. Look at those arms. It reminds me of the T-Rex arms. They're just like flapping along.
On Wednesday, we talked about how the York Regional Police, instead of with all the crime in the area, were also doing their own drag event too. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find Toronto's crime stats actually, because crime is like way up in the city.
Twerking. Like, and I think that needs to be headlines. We need to do an article with a headline about her twerking.
Yeah. Toronto mayor twerks while crime rates flourish in the area.
I'm here for it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But I mean, hey, Toronto, you voted for it.
It always comes down to us.
Yeah, there you go. All right, that's our daily dose of cringe. I think we hit all of the headliners and then some. We have all the super chats and Rumble rants in. I hope maybe there will be more after that daily dose of cringe. Sorry, we should have maybe given a warning that we were about to feature half naked Olivia Chow parading on the streets of Toronto, but you never really know what you're going to get with your daily dose of cringe here on Rebel Roundup. All right. I think we have everything in there. Perfect. Well, thanks so much, Drea, for joining us. Thanks, everybody, for coming and supporting our live stream, supporting our work on this Friday afternoon. We will be back regular schedule on Monday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern, same place, different hosts. I'm not sure who will be Monday. I think probably Sheila and David. Sheila's just been a mad woman traveling all around doing the reporting. And so she will be back on Monday and ready to host. Thanks to everybody who made sure all the links were available, all the words were there for everyone to find. This live stream isn't possible with a whole team of others behind us, so thanks to them for getting this out to the public. And there you have it. I'm still kind of like, I'm lost for words after watching a hat trick of cringy videos.
You did it to us, Tamara.
Mayor Olivia Chow. It was my idea. I was like, wait, we don't have any cringe. What did I see lately that was cringy? And there you have it. Maybe I shouldn't be in charge of the daily dose of cringe.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great weekend, everyone. See you Monday.
And the message of Eid resonates in this room, across the city, and I may say it should resonate with all Canadians. It's a story that some of us hear with slightly different nomenclature, whether the prophet is called Ibrahim or Abraham, Ishmael, or Isaac, the lessons and values of Eid are the same. Canada, our Canada, is a diverse country, proud home to different languages, different beliefs, different cultures. Those are differences that make us unique and make us strong. We can pray differently, we can gather in different places of worship, but all of us come together, all of us must come together around the values of Eid. The values of community, of generosity, and yes, of sacrifice. These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values.